come along with me as I make a recipe I've never made before. Which usually isn't that big of a deal because, you know, most of us make recipes that we've never made before. But the recipe is cinnamon raisin bread, and the recipe I found makes 3 loaves, and I know we do not need those. Sorry, the lighting is like just, this is great lighting, I'm telling you. Anyway, we don't need 3 loaves. So the recipe online has like this little half button. So I click the half button, but it only halves the ingredients and it doesn't explain what half is for the recipe. And some of them don't actually like compute right. And I don't have some of the right measuring cups, apparently. Anyway, I tweaked it. We'll see how this works. I got my fun drink in hand, making it fun with a cute glass. It's this stuff. I like this stuff. It's really good. Anyway, let's get going. I got water warm, which is now warm now. Ooh. Warming up my measuring cup so it doesn't bust on me. There, half a cup of water. And then we're gonna dump out the rest of the water. And we're gonna start warming 3/4 of a cup of milk, apparently. Okay. All right. Now we're supposed to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast to our warm water. Stir this. I guess we probably better plug it in. Alright, now it's supposed to sit for 5 minutes. While that's waiting, I guess I'm just gonna sit here and wait with it. It's been 5 minutes. Now let's mix the rest of the ingredients, which is, it says a half a cup of raisins, but I feel like that's not enough. Half a cup of raisins. I grew up and still do get eggs from families we know, and if you grew up like that, you know to crack your eggs into a little bowl before putting them into your bread or whatever you're making in case they're bad. Says a 1/4 cup of margarine, but we're using plant butter. Gets in my stomach. Warm milk. This thing, it's clear, you can't really see it. This thing is the best thing ever. I got the KitchenAid as a wedding present and I love it so much. And I love that it came with this. So handy. It says to add, there's 4 cups of flour and to add it gradually until like, you know, the right kind of dough forms. Check this out. Mixer's on. Add it in here. And no mess in the kitchen. I don't think I have to add the 4 cups. Oh, this? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Perfect. Okay. Let's move the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, this bowl, the recipe says to put this back into a knead dough on floured surface, and then you're gonna put it back into a bowl, a greased bowl. So we're gonna go ahead and get this greased first. And then you're supposed to knead this. It just says for a few minutes. Okay, I kneaded it for a few minutes. I feel like it needs to have more raisins in it, but oh well. When you stick it in the bowl, you're supposed to like rotate it so then there's grease all over it. I could have probably kneaded it in my KitchenAid, but sometimes I like getting an arm workout. I also preheated the oven, and then I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to set that in the oven so it has a warm place to rise. Sarah, don't you cry. Oh, Sarah, don't you cry for me. It says to cover with a damp towel. So instead of making one of my towels wet, I just use wet paper towels. And the oven is all preheated and warm, so we're gonna turn it off. My oven's gonna be like, what are you doing to me? And then we're gonna set this in the oven. I don't think that's too warm. Okay, now we set a timer for an hour. And we will come back a few minutes before the timer's done, hopefully, and make our swirl part. You'll see it in a minute. 2 minutes left on the timer, so let's make the sugar cinnamon spread stuff. That's 1/3 cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Yeah. These measuring spoons are something else I got as a wedding present. They're double-sided, and that's upside down. And one side is more narrow than the other side, so you can fit the one side into bottles easier. And then you can also use like 2 ingredients if you don't want to mix ingredients. Milk. There's the timer. Okay. I have some milk to brush on. Let's pull it out. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay. I think we shall. Let's do this the easy way. He's so perfect. Okay. Now we're supposed to roll this into a big rectangle. So like I said at the start, the recipe that I found online was made for 3 loaves of bread, and so when I halved it, half of 3 is 1 1/2. So I measured it, so I'm gonna cut it. One section is gonna be 1/3, and then the other section is gonna be the 2/3, and that should make about 1 1/2 loaves. Also, my hair is very crazy. Don't mind it. Okay, it says to brush with 2 tablespoons of milk. This is how we're gonna do it. I don't have a brush. So we're gonna take the paper towel. Well, let's see if this works. This pan has a habit of sticking, so I'm gonna line it with parchment paper. These are supposed to sit and rise for an hour. We're just gonna set it over here on the counter. Oh. Look at this little swirl. I am just gonna go ahead and put it into my other loaf pan, even though it's not big enough for it. And I decided not to put parchment paper in this, even though I know that bread does stick to this. This is just gonna be, I don't care so much. We'll just have to scoop it out of this one. Okay, then it says to grease the tops. We're gonna cheat and just grease it with. Okay. And then again it says cover and let rise, but it doesn't say wet. So, I think I'm gonna heat the oven up again. Because I'm afraid that my house might be too cold for them to rise. So I'm gonna put them back into the oven to rise again. I really quickly wrote out my recipe on this with like barely any detailed instructions, because I've made bread before and it's, you know, most breads start out like the same, you know, warm water and yeast, or warm milk and yeast, or something like that, and then you add the flour gradually. So I didn't really add too much instructions, and I wrote really, really tiny, and yeah, so then it would all fit on one card. Oh, I still have to title this or label this, so then I don't forget what it is. Some ingredients, sometimes, you know, recipes can have the same ingredients, and so you can't really tell what recipe is what. I mean, I feel like this one's pretty easy to tell because, you know, there's loaf pans and this sort of thing and swirl and that. And so it's not like cinnamon raisin cinnamon rolls. It shows loaf pan, so you know it's bread. But yeah. Anyway, I think the oven is warm enough. Now we turn it off. And we shall put our loaf pans in to warm. No, keep them covered. Okay. Set a timer for 1 hour. And then in 1 hour, well, actually, a little before 1 hour. No. At 1 hour, I'm just gonna remove the paper towels, turn the oven on to 350, and then it says to bake for about 45 minutes. I might bake it longer than 45 minutes because it's not preheated. I don't know. We'll start it at 45 minutes and see what it looks like at that point. But anyway, now we get to wait another hour. Yay! Okay, it should be risen now. I don't have an oven light, so. Oh, look at how pretty they look. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I've preheated the oven to 350. Supper is on the stove. And now I'm gonna let them bake for 45 minutes and then we'll take them out, see how they look. Eee! Okay, so my husband got home and we were eating supper and he was on the phone. So I just decided I'll do a voiceover for this part. As you can see, I'm buttering the tops and it took me quite a while to butter the tops. And it is kind of crusty. I feel like maybe I let it go just a little bit too long, but it still tastes delicious. Instead of just getting a cutting board out, I decided to cut it straight on the cooling rack. And it is really crusty. Just like the outside, the top part and then the bottom part. But it still cut pretty smooth while it was warm. And I ended up giving half of the bigger loaf away to my family and then just slowly ate the other part down. But look at this beautiful swirl. I mean, didn't that just turn out so perfect? It looks like somebody drew a cinnamon roll or something, you know? And it smells amazing. Like the cinnamon and the raisins and then like a little hint of the butter. Oh my goodness, it's delicious smelling. I can't describe how good it smells. And then when I rewarmed it, like I stored the bread in the refrigerator and then if I wanted it the next day, I would rewarm it and it smelled and tasted just as good rewarmed. So I definitely recommend this recipe. Just don't cook it as long as I did. But you can tell on my face. It was so good. Oh my goodness. I just kept wanting to eat it. I think I ate like 3 or 4 slices that night. It was probably way too much to eat, especially after having a full supper. But it was so good and fresh like that. Oh my goodness, fresh bread is the best. I'm listening to my husband's conversation. That's why my face is like kind of, what? You know, listening in on all the gossip. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you learned as much as I did. And I'll see you in the next video.